Guys, going to be doing a review of the original run of Arrested Development. I'll start with season one. So, Arrested Development was actually one of my favorite shows. I didn't watch much of it back when it was airing on Fox, but I came to it several years later, like a lot of people did, and now it's one of my favorite comedies. So, for those of you who've never seen it, it's a sitcom about a very dysfunctional rich family called the Bluths. Each one of them have their own idiosyncratic quirks, and the level-headed one and arguably the main protagonist of the series, Michael, played by Jason Bateman, is the more straight-headed one that tries to kind of keep everybody in check, and usually gets involved in whatever crazy schemes his relatives are getting into. It's a very intricate show in that it's one of those you have to watch every episode to get previous jokes, and there's recurring jokes, and there's several in jokes within the show that you would only know if you'd been a long time viewer of it, which I think is why it didn't do so well initially in the ratings and why Fox canceled it. But I want to be talking about the first three original seasons of the show. It was later brought back for Netflix for a fourth season, but I'm going to be doing a separate video on that. So, anyway, just jumping into it. Season 1, it establishes everybody. It establishes kind of the tone of the show. The first episode alone gives you an idea what the show's going to be like. And it sets up the main story of the first season, which is the patriarch of the Bluth family, Michael's father, goes to prison, and Michael's basically forced into running the family's company, while at the same time dealing with the eccentricities, greed, and incompetency of his relatives. I want to talk about the cast because they all do fantastically. Because the show stars Jason Bateman, Michael Cera, Portia de Rossi, Tony Hale, Will Arnett, Jessica Walter, David Cross. Jeffrey Tambor and Jessica Walter. Oh God, all of them turn in amazing performances. Like, I don't feel like I'm watching actors. I feel like I'm watching these characters in these situations. The writing is really sharp. It's a very dark sense of humor, but a very clever one. The show doesn't have any pathos of any kind. It's straight up comedy. There's never a moment that's supposed to be dramatic or sad. And even moments that are supposed to be sad and dramatic for characters are for comedy. It's kind of like Seinfeld in that respect. There's not any sad or dramatic moments. None of the characters have any real emotional story arcs or go through any real huge problems. Even when they do have problems, they're very minuscule and, like I said, for comedy purposes. And it's basically how the family in this season is forced to deal with their father's imprisonment and how they all are going broke and how they're not used to it because they're so rich, and how Michael can't stand his family and he wants to get out of there, but he's kind of forced the situation, and so him and his son, George Michael, played by Michael Cera, who I believe this was like his first breakout role, which led him to be in films and things. But Michael Cera plays such a perfect, awkward teen trying to find his way in everything that it's just spectacular. And the jokes involving him and kind of his situations are great. They're actually one of my favorite parts of the show. George Michael's character has a crush on his cousin, whose name is Maybe, and she's played by Alicia Katt. Hope I'm saying that right. And Aaliyah's amazing job as Maybe, and everything that George Michael is, Maybe is the opposite. George Michael is a soft-spoken, introverted, shy, awkward, not afraid to offend or do anything he's not supposed to. Maybe is the complete opposite. Maybe is the troublemaker. She's the schemer. She's the one that's always trying to get her parents' attention because they don't pay attention to her. They're the ones that are trying. She's the one that's always trying to kind of piss everybody off so they'll notice her, because she has these insecurities because she hasn't been noticed. Like her parents, who are Michael's sister and brother-in-law, whose names are Lindsay. Sorry, names are Lindsay and Tobias, are like the other members of the family, completely wrapped up in themselves. They are selfish and greedy like the other lives, and so maybe feels the you know, the understandable desire of any kid to get their parents' attention. So she, you know, is always scamming them and everything. And her situations with George Michael are fantastic. The series overall, it definitely is one of those, if you like really fast-paced comedy, but at the same time deadpan. Like, no laugh track, no indication like, oh, hey, laugh now. It's more just like, the writing definitely, you know, does not underestimate your intelligence. It's expecting you to be as smart as it is. If that sounds like your kind of comedy, then I highly recommend it. So I'm going to go to season 2 now. Season 2 is my favorite season of the show. I feel like that's when it hit its peak, and I feel like it hasn't been that good since. In season 2, Michael's father escapes prison. He's living in the family's attic, and the only one who knows about it is Michael. Michael is trying to do his best to keep it secret, but a bunch of circumstances arise that make things comedic. Some major plot points in season 2 are, well, like I said, the father in the attic. The more significant role the father's twin brother Oscar plays in the show. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in it as a blind attorney who turns out is not blind. And this one deals more about, it's kind of more, I would say, focused in its execution and more kind of story driven than any other season. It's the most intricate and involved and the most going on out of the whole show, I feel like. Sorry. I don't know why I'm coughing so much. I mean, it's just as, and also I feel like season 2 has the funniest jokes. Like, everything I feel like is the zenith of the show in this season. I feel like the jokes are the funniest, the writing's the sharpest, the characters are the most developed. Pardon the pun. And I feel like it's the closest it gets to being like almost like a theatrical play. I feel like it gets like the closest to where it's almost like a drama. If you don't watch any of the rest of them, just watch season 2. I mean, that's the best one in my opinion. Anyway, and finally season 3. Season 3, it was the shortest of the original series. It only had 13 episodes because they knew they were getting canceled. So season 3 has a lot of funny in-jokes about that. There's an episode called Save Our Blues. There's subtle references to how they're trying to keep the show going. Or not so subtle, I should say. Season 3 is, in my opinion, the worst of the original series, but it's still not bad by any means. Because the worst of Arrested Development is better than just about anything on TV. Most of the season 3 story arc is about Michael, who's dating a English woman who may or may not, or may be mentally handicapped. But it's done a lot more funnier and tastefully than you would probably expect. Especially for a show as irreverent. I'm surprised it does it as a result. It is also Justine Bateman guest starring as a prostitute who ends up saving the Blues Company. There's an attorney played by Scott Baio named Bob LeBlanc, which, you know, a name like that, how can you not love it? And it has a very satisfying finale. And the finale ties everything up beautifully. And actually, I would say you could just skip season 3 and just watch the last episode, and I feel like you wouldn't miss much. And honestly, you would get a really good series finale. It's actually, in my opinion, one of the best ways a series has ever wrapped itself up. In my opinion. And fittingly enough, the last episode mirrors the first episode of the first season. So it has a nice roundness to it. And definitely, even at its worst writing, which I won't say this is a season series worst writing, but for the original series run it was, it's still so much better than anything and did not deserve to get canceled. And all I have to say is, yeah, for you canceling Arrested Development, as far as a bunch of other shit you've done, fuck you, Fox. Just fuck you right in the ass. Just, I hate you. So anyway, I hope you guys have not minded me rambling about it, and I hope you definitely want to check it out. Everything I've said has not done justice to it. You just have to watch it for yourself. But I hope I kind of gave you an idea of what kind of show it is. And if it sounds like your cup of tea, then I highly recommend it. So anyway, I will be doing a video in season 4, probably right away, probably not, and I'll talk about how different it is and my thoughts on it and that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's all for now. Catch you guys later. Bye.